Well, good evening. Speaking of Zane crew, welcome to the 154th week of Speaking of Zane. We're coming up on 3 years, I guess. Hard to believe we've been doing this that long. I guess this fall I'll have to look back. That'll be a good question. But hey, good to have you guys in here for the July 25th edition of Speaking of Zane. Hello to all and welcome. And if you want me to know that you're there and to say hello to everybody that's assembled, just say something in the chat there and I will know that you are there. Man, it's so good to have each of you there joining us for Speaking of Zane. And let me just see who we've got here. We've got my buddy Daryl up in St. Louis. More about Daryl in a minute when we get to the cemetery challenge. There's my friend Ken down in Punta Gorda, Florida. Andrew Fresquez up in North Dakota. Andrew, correct me if I get it wrong, buddy. One of Zane's battle buddies. I'm glad that you stop in, Andrew. Good to have you. We consider all of his battle buddies just a connection to him, and so good to have you in there. There's my cousin Toby Griffin down in Irwin County, Osceola, I believe. And there's my Aunt Paula down in Florida. Good to have you in there, Aunt Paula. And more about your accomplishments this week as we get to the Think a Vet challenge, which has turned into sort of an accelerated challenge. Actually, we've had that challenge for some time now, but we're approaching a threshold that makes it exciting for each and every one of the Think a Vets that we have. But good to have you in there, Aunt Paula. There's Laurie Bellis. Hey, Laurie, how are you? Good to have you in there. All right, well, let's see what we got this week. I'm going to try to make it short. I know I always say that. They say that the ideal podcast or the ideal sort of live stream of the nature that we do is 30 minutes. The ideal length is 30 minutes, and we generally go between 45 and an hour. But I'm going to try to make it shorter tonight because we have to get to bed early. We have to be on the road at about 6 a.m. tomorrow, and it's because we're going to a funeral. We're going to pay our last respects to my Uncle Bob, Robert Joseph McDonald, my Uncle Bob. I mentioned Uncle Bob on here a few weeks ago. He was in the hospital, actually, and then eventually was released and went home to his daughter Kathy's house. But I'm sad to report that Uncle Bob passed away just a couple days ago, and well, let me share here, add this to the stream. There's my Uncle Bob there. Well, you couldn't tell in that picture that he's greater than 8 decades old, could you? Just a phenomenal guy, 84 years old, and he I truly believe that he thought he was the one that was going to live forever. And he had a bunch of the rest of us convinced that he was just going to live forever. He did not look like an 80-something-year-old. And just the most positive and optimistic guy. A little bit about his optimism. I may have mentioned this before. Some of you know the story. When he was approaching his 80th birthday, he got braces on his teeth. That's optimism there. And that you're going to get your return on the investment. And but that's the kind of guy he was, and served 31 years in the Air Force, and was an early sort of idol of mine. I was sitting reflecting on him this afternoon as the family has asked me to say a few words along with my dad tomorrow, and just all kind of great memories came back. And he certainly was sort of the patriarch of that wing of the family, the Joseph and Gladys McDonald clan. and was everybody's big brother. I mean, I think that's one of the other reasons I related so well to him. Is I'm a big brother. I'm the oldest. He was the oldest, and just a guy I've admired since I was knee high to a grasshopper, and a great guy. And of course, we're not all going to live forever, and at least not on this earth. Um, and I think it's true that he recognized that, and from his confession of faith, we know where he's at now, and it's really more of a celebration of a man that had a full and fruitful life, and I'm looking forward to um, paying my last respects to him tomorrow down in Fitzgerald, Georgia, which is about anywhere between 3 and 4.5 hours for us. So we're going to have to leave about 6 in the morning. I think the service is at 11, and anyway, I would go no matter where his service was at, no matter what time of the day. You can guarantee that I would be there, and just one of my lifelong idols that I have so much admiration and respect for him. And my heart goes out to his family, all of his children and grandchildren. But so long, Uncle Bob. All right. Well, let's see who else has joined. Well, you're in Fitzgerald, Lori. Okay. Well, then I'm sure that we will see each other tomorrow if you will be at the service. Let's see. Steve Shirley's in there. Welcome back, Steve and Kathy Shirley, from their adventure in Iceland, which we all enjoyed, by the way, Steve. Thank you so much for you and Kathy for capturing all the photos. And man, just a phenomenal place. If anybody was ever on the fence about visiting Iceland, your photos should have pushed them right over. And it's just how I remember it. We took a trip up there once from Mildenhall, and just it was an incredible time. And I'm glad you guys enjoyed yourself, Steve, and that you're back safely. Good to have you in here tonight. There's Brenda Lusk up in Michigan. Hey, Brenda, hope you're settling in nicely. Let's see. Jim Miller's in there. Hey, Jimbo, how you doing, buddy? Let me see. I'm making sure that I have not missed anyone here. We also had another piece of bad news this week. My mother's sister, Jeannie, passed about a day before Uncle Bob, a day or two before Uncle Bob, and she was in her 70s, and had some health issues. And boy, I just remember her so fondly too. When I was a little guy, she worked for the governor of Alabama in that office when I was a little guy, and I just remember whenever we would be in Montgomery at Grandma's house or Grandma Pittman's house, and Jeannie had a little beige Volkswagen Bug, and I remember riding around in that beige Volkswagen Bug. So we're gonna miss you too, Aunt Jeannie. Okay, let's see. Okay. All right. Well, let's see. What else do we have going this week? Well, Lori and I had a good time. We had kind of a date night. We had kind of a date night last night, although I think I got on her nerves a little bit, but I do that. We actually went to Kathy and Gordon's house. Gordon had his 60th birthday party. It was a surprise. Kathy threw him a surprise party. Anyway, we went to their house. Kathy and Lori have been friends for some number of years, and consequently, Gordon and I have become friends. So anyway, Gordon had his 60th birthday, and we convened at the Cobb house, and had some cigars and, the celebratory stuff, and talked about how 60 doesn't seem that old now, and all of those kind of things. So it was a good time for sure. There's my buddy from work, Jeff Klein. Hey, Jeff, how you doing, pal? Good to have you in there. I tell you, Jeff, when I see Jeff at work, or we attend a lot of the same meetings. When just a few weeks after Zane passed, um, in January, it was the end of January of 2016. And stick around, Jeff. This story is about you. And this is how some people stick with you. This is how people stand out, and how you remember them. Well, just it might have been 2 weeks after Zane passed, we had a company meeting um, in San Diego, and Zane had passed, and the week between his death and his funeral was a hectic week. I've often talked about it, but that was behind us. The funeral was had, and then another week goes by, and our annual meeting comes up, and I'm thinking, okay, my boss said you don't have to go, and I said no, I got to get back in the saddle. I've got things to do, so I go, and I can tell. And this is before Lori and I had been to this couples retreat where we learned a lot of the psychology about people losing children, and then how people don't know how to confront other people. It's the awkwardness and the timidness. And anyway, um, I get there to San Diego with all my friends, and people are avoiding me, obviously, because they don't know what to say. They don't know what to do, and they don't know how to approach you. They're afraid to bring it up. Lori and I have learned some techniques and stuff since then, and things like that we share with other people. Not that we made them up; we learned them from some others. But so I get to San Diego, and I'm beginning to mingle, and some of my friends are, it's evident they're just avoiding the situation. They don't want to have the awkwardness and uncomfortableness of it. And I remember this vividly, Jeff. I get out onto the veranda there where it was lunchtime, and a bunch of the pals, or a bunch of my pals, are all gathered, and we're eating lunch there. And I didn't know Jeff very well at the time, but I'm sitting there, and Jeff is just across from me, and he's just fixated on me. He's just staring at me, and you can tell it's this. He's got this angst. And anyway, he eventually, talked to me, and, told me what he was thinking. And he said, I cannot imagine, and, all of that stuff. And I'll always remember that, Jeff. I don't even know if you remember it, but I could tell, it seemed, at least it appeared to me, that you were running through your mind the situation if it was your son. And I could tell you had this compassion that you felt, and you just didn't quite know how to. Look at me, I'm tearing up right now thinking about it. But anyway, so good to have you in there, Jeff. Thanks for stopping by. Where we don't cry every week on Speaking of Zane, we do a little of it, and we do a little laughter and other things. But glad you're in there. Okay, everybody is saying that 60 is young. See, all the old people are saying 60 is young. And we were all talking last night about, man, I still feel 30 on the inside. What happened to this body? But anyway, it's crazy. But anyway, that was a good end to our week, is to get together with friends. And Kathy, I don't know if you're in here tonight, but thank you. She often is. But thank you and Gordon for having us over. We did a little karaoke too there at the end. So that was fun. But okay, what do we got going this week? Um, I mentioned this before. There's a new organization I learned about called Eyes of Freedom. Eyes of Freedom, and it's a sort of a traveling tour dedicated to a bunch of Marines who were killed in a battle in Iraq. And no, ma'am, Miss Paula, I'm not calling you old. Older than me, but not old. Sorry about that. See, I'm gonna get in trouble here. Okay. Anyway, so there's the Eyes of Freedom tour is going to be here in town, and they're having a rally at Simplify Bar and Grill, where the tavern that our friend Ralph Roger owns. So I don't know. I might get away from work a little bit early to run over there, and then they're having a motorcade. They're motorcading from Simplify over here to the little town we live in, Ackworth, where they're going to set up the display. I don't know how long they're going to be here, but I think over the weekend. So that'll be fun. We'll report that to you and post some pictures and stuff like that. And maybe they'll be coming to a city near you. And then next Saturday, we're going to do the Running to Honor 5K. Well, shoot, I wish I had to. Hang on a second. Hang on 1 second. Okay, our friend Aaron up in Michigan, who coordinates the race, got everything out in the mail, including some very nice shirts for the race with the Running to Honor logo, and then on the back, and then a very nice finishing medal. This year, he's honoring the battle in Europe and D-Day. So that's very nice. And then he also included a nice little challenge coin for me and wrote a personal note to me about it. And it's a cool little, more than a challenge coin actually. I don't know how well you can see it there, but anyway. Anyway, we'll be doing that next Saturday morning, bright and early, the 31st. We'll be walking. I don't think either Lori or I are in as, I was going to say good shape. We're not in as well a shape as we were last year, I don't think. So we'll see how things go. But we're committed to doing the walk. So all right, well, let me see what I'm missing in the chat here, and then because you guys are pretty active in the chat this evening. Yeah, okay, good. All right, excellent. Okay, so we're doing that. And then what is the hat of the week? What's the hat of the week? We always have a hat of the week, and generally it aligns with something we've got going on or something we're doing. And if I had an old a McDonald appliance and furniture store hat from Uncle Bob's establishment, I would wear that, but I don't. So this week I'm wearing my hat. That's Kansas the band. So those of you that are my generation certainly remember Kansas the band. You remember Dust in the Wind and Carry On and Portrait and all that. Well, the one of the founders and the violinist, Robbie Steinhardt, passed this week, and got a chance. I had a chance to meet him. I got a chance to meet him and the band in 2002 when they were here in Atlanta, and then we've seen them. I've seen them a number of times since then. But anyway, great band, and so in honor of Mr. Steinhardt, there, classically trained violinist, the Kansas hat is the hat of the week. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, there's Matt Aaron. Hey, Matt. I wasn't scrolled down, so I was missing some things here. Jim said, yeah, I have a pair of shorts on, Jim. I've been wearing shorts for a year and a half now, pretty much every day. All right. So let's see, I did not, and I said I'm going to make this quick tonight. I didn't pull any This Week in Military History items. So if you know of any that are significant enough to call out, put them in the chat there, and we'll read them. Well, let me go to the Veteran Cemetery Challenge. I know that we had at least one visit this week, and Daryl got a chance to visit his wife Wanda at Jefferson Barracks National Cemetery, and it was a special visit because he had his granddaughter and her kids here from Tennessee, I think, right, Daryl? And they went out and visited there today. So it's very rare that we have a week that somebody does not visit a veteran cemetery. Some weeks we have a lot, some weeks we might just have one, but it's very rare that we have zero. And since we've been doing this little challenge and bringing awareness to veteran cemeteries and really what they mean, and sharing that with others, we have made 444 visits. How about this? Jeff, we've made this little group of patriots has made 444 visits to 135 different veteran cemeteries just over the last couple of years. So it's been a lot of fun to track and a lot of fun to share that fact with others. And I sure enjoy doing it, and I'm grateful that you guys are in it right alongside us. So thank you. And another challenge we started quite some time back, well, less than 3 years, probably 2 years. Yeah, 2 years or so is anytime we see a veteran or a service member or first responder, we'll just tell them thanks. And let them know that they're appreciated. We were doing that before it was cool, even, and we started tracking those thank yous and chronicling them. And some of you do a fabulous job in the Speaking of Zane Facebook group of describing your encounters. Some are so comical, some are sad. Some are very poignant. It's just an incredible thing. We could capture all of these in a book. Remember, Lori and I are going to write a book, and this is the kind of stuff that would be nice to chronicle there. So thank you guys for doing the Thank a Vet challenge with us. Last week I had not, when we did Speaking of Zane, I had not caught up on the Facebook group to see some of the thank yous that had occurred before I totaled things up. If you remember, I can't remember what the deal was last week, Lori, but I hadn't been on Facebook during the day on Sunday, and we had been out sightseeing on Saturday. I can't remember the circumstances, but I had not gone and looked at any new entries since I had written the totals. Anyway, so there were several that I did not count last week that I'm adding into this week's total, and those were from Aunt Paula. Actually, she thanked a Coast Guard member. She thanked a 90-year-old Air Force Korean War vet who also happened to spend time in the Navy and the Army National Guard. And then she also thanked a 90-year-old Army veteran at church. So that was 3 that we missed last week that I'm adding into this week's total. And then Aunt Paula, again, knocked it out of the park this week. She thanked a Newport Richey police officer, a Vietnam vet, a Clearwater police officer, and a Coast Guard Reserve officer. And then she thanked a former Navy SEAL who's now a Pasco County Sheriff's deputy and 3 other deputies. And she thanked a Navy vet in her neighborhood while she was taking a walk. There's a Navy vet that was visiting his family, and she thanked him. So we had a total, so that's a total of 12 new ones that I know about. And that takes our total to 928. So 928 times somebody from this relatively small group of patriots has told a service member, a veteran, or a law enforcement officer, I appreciate you. Thank you for what you do. They don't hear it enough. They sure don't. But this group is in the business of thanking veterans, and we call it our Thank a Vet Challenge. And I'll tell you that we are at 928. So we're making a surge for the 1,000 mark. We're making that surge. We're trying to get to 1,000 before the end of summer. When's the end of summer? I guess August 30th, August 31st, I guess. I don't know. We got about 5 weeks or so. And we need about 72. We need 72 thank yous. So I think we're well within striking distance for sure. All right, Katie Aaron's in there. Hey, Katie. Good to have. Yeah, that's right, Katie. See, Katie was paying attention last week. We were out with our grandkids, our Virginia grandkids on Sunday. That's right. And we had just got home like a minute before. Speaking of Zane, that's right, Katie. Thank you. I need to carry you around with me to remind me of things. All right, Ken reminds us that this was the anniversary of Apollo, what is that, 11? And We did talk about the shuttle last week, Ken. We sure did. Yeah, it was 10 years ago when the last one launched. We talked about that last week. Yeah, it was July the 8th, 2011, and it was Shuttle Atlantis was the last. Okay. Well, for you airplane freaks, Oshkosh runs this week. Oshkosh, I've already been seeing the arrivals, and I'm excited because even though I'm not here this year and it's on my bucket list, it's on Zane's bucket list, it's on my friend Lanny's bucket list, it's on my friend Terry Bass's bucket list, it was on my friend Todd Vanderwerken's bucket list, and we didn't get to go together before he passed. Anyway, so I cannot wait to go to Oshkosh and just be nothing but airplanes for a solid week. But until I can do that, they do a fabulous job of live streaming from several cameras during the week. And so as I'm working, I will have Oshkosh Air Venture on in the background. So you can bet on that, except for tomorrow. All right, let's see. Daryl, that's good. Daryl says he didn't thank any this week, but he received several thanks. That's great. Lori says, did I post my story about the interaction with the state trooper last year? I don't think so. I don't recall, or you may have, but I don't remember which encounter you're talking about there. Maybe if you want to share that next week, we can bring you in on the feed, and you can tell it live. Let's see. Lori says the official end of summer is the 21st, so that would give us some breathing room on the 1,000 witness, but I think we're going to get to 1,000 before that. All right. Yeah, Oshkosh, Daryl, has been on my list for some time, and I want to get there. I would love to camp on the grounds, right, and just, do nothing but airplane stuff for a solid week, and eat junk and just do nothing, But anyway. Okay, let's see. So we are well on our way there. No new organizations to report about. I did talk about the Eyes of Freedom, but every day that goes by, we're learning about different organizations that are doing great work for veterans. I tell you, if we wait for the government, it ain't going to happen. We've seen that. We know that. I'm not saying they don't do. I'm not saying that the VA doesn't provide good care or do good work for some, and I'm not saying that, but there's a bureaucratic element to anything connected with the government. But I'll tell you, the organizations that do the most, in my opinion and my observation, are non-governmental agencies, grassroots organizations that spring up out of need, like our friend Aaron Bartle up in Michigan, the things that he does to raise awareness. And I was so touched this last week. He did a video on the afternoon of the 22nd. Every 22nd of the month, him and a sailor there go out at this intersection. They put pictures of the fallen along the curb there, and they have a big sign that says, the 22nd aligns with 22 veterans that commit suicide every day. So they raise awareness every 22nd of the month. And they have a sign that they hold up that says, how does it go? If you are ever looking for a sign not to kill yourself, this is the sign. Just a kind of a play on words. And they've got, anyway, he did a little video, and they had Zane's picture on the, and it's staked in the ground. We've shown you that before. And Aaron did such a great job of talking about how, some people kill themselves on purpose and purposefully, and some kill themselves not on purpose, and such is the case with Zane and others like him. And Aaron just did such a great job of describing that, and he has a heart for honoring those men and women that served, that have passed after coming home. Anyway, organizations like that are are all around us. You don't have to reach very far to find something that you can look to, align with, contribute to, share with others, and it's a good thing. Okay, let's see. So that's it for the organizations. We did have a couple of instances this week, which are very sad. There were two Fort Bliss soldiers that died in a car crash, and just terrible news. Specialist Melvin Bathor and Sergeant First Class Keith Rambo, both from Fort Bliss, Texas, killed in a car crash. Devastating. And then Katie posted this, and I had learned about it. I had learned about the fact that this young lieutenant was missing, but it was confirmed during the week that Army First Lieutenant Brian Yang was found dead after missing on a hike near Mount St. Helens, Washington. And just a sad, they say it appears that he fell from a 200-foot cliff. And unfortunately, Lieutenant Yang's life was cut short there. So, okay, well, I tell you, I've got some news that I'm so excited about. And I haven't seen it yet, but my son Tyler was going through some things in the garage today for me, and he stumbled on a cache of notes and letters and things from Zane. And Zane, during his post-Army years, he went through a lot of different things, a lot of cycles, but he went through some treatment. And there's a treatment center here that he went to, and while he was in there, evidently this suitcase that Tyler found has some of those notes and letters and things, and I have not seen them yet, but it's during that period of time when he was in, what was the name of the place, Lori? You know it. Riverview, I think, or something like that, but it's right here in the Atlanta metro. But I'm kind of excited to read them and kind of sad to read them. But anyway, if there's anything that is worth sharing with you folks, we certainly will. This is the right place to do it. We celebrate Zane's life. We mourn his loss. There's a range of emotions that we have, that we had at the time. There's a range of emotions that we have today. But the thing that'll never change is that we loved him, and he was a unique and special person, just like each of us. And the circumstances are sad and difficult, but we talk about them here. We talk about the good and the bad and the ugly, and if any or all of those things can help someone else, I mean, how do you argue with that? I'm not evangelizing or I'm not trying to say that I'm going to be the thing that, changes somebody's life or anything. But if anything that has happened along the way to us or to Zane, if anybody can learn anything from that, that would be great. And, they say that a person dies twice, once when they take their last breath, for sure, and then again when their name is no longer spoken. Think about that. As long as their name is spoken, they're kind of here, aren't they? They're kind of, we speak his name in our family all the time. His little nephew, Everett, his middle name is Zane, and I will purposely call him Everett Zane just to hear that name. And I thank my daughter Hannah so much for, paying that tribute to Zane by giving her son his middle name and or his name, and then of course my son Tyler gave his son Colby Zane's middle name. So in this family, we're not going to forget him, and we're just going to keep saying his name and celebrating his life, and we are happy that you guys are here to do that with us. I'll tell you, I cannot stress that enough, and thank you all immensely for coming alongside us and being our friends and remembering Zane, even those of you that never knew Zane. And, thank you for that. Okay, well, there's my Aunt Cindy over in Alabama. Hey, Aunt Cindy, we're just wrapping it up, but so good to have you in there. You can watch the recording, of course, but we're wrapping it up. Lori and I are getting up early and driving down to Fitzgerald and pay our last respects to my dad's brother, Bob. And so that'll take us all day. We'll be back tomorrow, late afternoon, evening, I'm sure. And I've still got to put a few words together to say tomorrow and next week. Next week I'll be prepared to report to you how things went because we're doing my dad and I and my cousin Robert doing a few special things in the ceremony, and then there'll be a military honor guard at the cemetery. So we will be sure to report on that and whatnot next week. So, all right, everybody. Well, God bless you. Thank you so much for joining us here for Speaking of Zane this week and every week. And we'll look forward to seeing you next week, Sunday night. We'll also be able to report on our Running to Honor 5K, which we're going to do on Saturday. So good to have everybody in there. God bless you. Have a great week. Make it count. See you next week.